everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, that was kind of okay, so I'm going to do like we do in Baptist church, and I'm going to just turn around, walk away from the podium, and we're going to try this again like we are in the South at a Baptist church. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Great. Now I can get going. I can get cracking. My name is Tanisha Batiste, but as you heard Mr. Grant say, you can call me T. Everybody does. And I just want to let you guys know that I'm so excited to be here. When I met Mr. Grant for maybe the second or third time just last week at the Black Sports Business Symposium, I was just so excited because literally I'm walking out of the door and he's on the field and I'm there to meet someone totally different, but obviously sometimes there are different plans in place, and that was actually the person that I was supposed to meet, and he said, "What are you doing on June 28th?" And I said, "Working for you." So here I am with Mr. Grant, and thanks to Michelle Jinks as well. And I just want to shout out my HBCU, which, hey, we don't have a football team, so I live vicariously through all of you, but I am a proud alumna of Xavier. That is Z as in Xavier University of Louisiana, all the way down in New Orleans. So thank you guys again for having us. Yes. And also, I want to tell you guys that I'm excited because whether you know it or not, we are just 60 days out from the start of the college football season. 60 days! 60 days. That's exciting. So again, I want to welcome you guys, both those who are in attendance here at Center Park Stadium today. Also want to welcome you guys who are joining us virtually. We're definitely going to get you guys into the party. We wish you could be here, but we'll keep you in the party as much as we can. And then I just want to walk you guys through the order of this morning's press conference so that you can get an idea of what we're going to do. As Michelle has stated, somewhere between now and noon, because we have some lunch to get after that. So as soon as I finish introducing and getting you guys a little bit familiar with both coaches, both Coach Larry Scott of Harvard University and Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. of Alabama State, we're actually going to go right into questions. And so just want to give you guys a reminder that if you can keep your cell phones on silent or just turn them off altogether. I mean, why would you want to listen to anything else or hear from anybody else? Because this is where everything is this morning. So just check in with us and check out on your cell phone. We appreciate that. Also, just to let you guys know, throughout the question and answer session, basically what we'll start is here in the room with 3 questions for our live audience, then we'll flip it to our virtual audience for a couple of questions, and then we'll kind of do that back and forth banter as time permits. And we'll ask you when you get up to introduce yourself, such as Keisha Kelly. Yeah, that's my girl, so I'll call her out early. Keisha Kelly of the Black College Experience. You want to go ahead and give your name as well as your affiliation so that we can know who is questioning in the room. So, are we all good? Everybody ready to rock?
Yes.
All right, good deal. So let's start off talking a little bit, just briefly, about the MEAC. The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, also known, like I said, as the MEAC, was founded back in 1970, boasts 8 members, but more importantly, the MEAC's 11-4 in challenge play and will look to continue that dominance in the opening classic of this season when Howard takes the field to represent for the very first time. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about who is going to be leading the charge for Howard University, and that would be Coach Larry Scott. So a little bit about Coach Scott. Go ahead, give him love. So Coach Scott, on February 6, 2020, he was announced as football head coach for the Bison. He joined the family with more than 15 years of collegiate experience, including 6 postseason bowl playoff game victories, 10 appearances overall, and he's a 2000 graduate from the University of South Florida, where he played O-line for the Bulls. And I guess I missed you by a hair because I covered the Bulls for a couple of years there at UCF. So how cool is that? 2008, Scott helped lead the Bulls to their best recruiting class in program history, only to surpass that class with the nation's number 21 ranked class in 2009. And on October 2nd, 2021, Scott earned his first win as Bison head coach, knocking off FCS powerhouse Sacred Heart. And then in December of 2021, he signed the highest ranking recruiting class in program history. And of course, spent a couple seasons with Dan Mullen as the assistant coach and tight ends coach. And Coach Larry, we're going to bring you up to give some brief comments as well. But when you do, I want you to also answer for us this question that we have. This is the first time the Bison are playing in the challenge. So what does it mean to this program to have the opportunity to be a part of this game that essentially is culminating the college football season? Actually, you can stay right there, yeah.
That's all right. I can't tell you how much it means. It was kind of trippy for me to read through there and study the history myself and see that our university had never made an appearance in this game, which was, kind of a mixed bag of feelings, right? Like, why wouldn't Howard have already played in that game as one of the staple schools in that conference? But at the same time, there's a time of first, and everything comes in the seasons that it come in. So I'm excited that it's us. I'm excited that it's our coaches and these young people that we put together to be a part of this. So we're super excited about it. And sometimes the history starts with being the first. So we want to start a string for Howard University that starts right here for us this year.
And I could not agree with you more, Coach Larry, because this is my first time, this is our inaugural press conference for the MEAC SWAC Challenge, and so this is my first time having the opportunity to moderate. So yeah, first start, an important thing, and you can set the stage for what is to come. So appreciate that, and thank you, of course, to Howard Bison Nation for being a part of this MEAC SWAC Challenge. Now, let's talk a little bit to Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. We're going to talk a little bit about the SWAC just briefly. In 1920, 8 men representing 6 colleges from the state of Texas, the great state of Texas, met to discuss collegiate athletics and the many challenges that face their respective institutions. By the time the session in Houston had concluded, they had founded an athletic league that has slowly become one of the leading sports associations in the world of collegiate athletics. The Southwestern Athletic Conference and the Alabama State Hornets will represent the conference in this challenge, once again led by Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. So again, Coach, if you wouldn't mind making a few opening statements, but also want to ask you a question as well. Now, you guys have been to the rodeo a couple times as a program, right? And unfortunately, not so successful, didn't quite come out with a dub those first 2 times, but what is it going to take for Hornets Nation and this Hornets program to walk away with a win this time?
All right, first of all, good morning. It's great being here. And like you said, we played a couple times before. I think the game was in Orlando. And of course, to me, Atlanta is the perfect place to have the SWAC MEAC Challenge. I mean, for Alabama State being right down the road, it should be a home game. We're expecting to have a lot of fans here. We have a lot of alumni here in Atlanta. I lived here in Atlanta briefly, also once I finished playing in the NFL. So it's just a great opportunity for us to showcase on ESPN the first game, opening game of the season, week 0, against a legendary university like Howard University and football program. So I think it's a great matchup, great venue, great city, and we're just looking forward. Like 59 days, 60?
60 days.
Can't come quick enough. So.
Cannot come quick enough. I love that energy. I love that energy. And it's interesting because you mentioned the fact that we are here in Atlanta, and this is really the bastion of all things college football. And one of the things that Mr. Grant and I talked about last week was, what is it that makes the MEAC SWAC Challenge so special? What is it that makes the Celebration Bowl so special? And I said, Atlanta, we really are the intersection of sports, entertainment, and the culture, right? And so when you think about the MEAC SWAC Challenge, you think about even the Celebration Bowl, that is what both of those events represent. The MEAC SWAC Challenge to me is like the opening family reunion, or it's like the opening day of family reunion weekend that happens to be surrounding football. So I really love what it is that we're going to be doing here in Atlanta in the next 60 days. I couldn't think of a better city for this challenge to be housed in. Right, Doctor? Right, Mr. Grant? Absolutely, absolutely. So, Michelle, if we are okay to get started with Q&A, we want to, again, just remind you guys to keep your cell phones silent. Thank you all for that. Also, Michelle will have someone who's coming around with the microphone. So again, if you'll just raise your hand, and when you do get the mic, if you'll just again let us know your name and also who you are affiliated with, we would greatly appreciate that. Again, we'll take a couple questions here live, and then we'll go to our virtual team and move from there.
Good afternoon, coaches. Jason McDonald, 4360 Sports. Coach Robinson, what does it mean for Alabama State, who played in the first against South Carolina State, the first MEAC SWAC Challenge over in Birmingham, to return to this game after so, it didn't work out well, as they said, but the cover isn't there in Hornets land. Can you talk about what you're planning to do this season?
Yeah, I think with us, it all starts with the offensive line. We have a lot of big guys coming back. Robert Austin, who was a second-team all-conference guy. Ray Curry, a guy that's transferring in. Tito, big guy, Stafford. So we got a lot of guys who played, got a lot of games under their belt. So offensive line is going to get us going. Of course, we're going to do a lot of RPOs, running the football. But also, it's the SWAC. We like to throw the ball in the air. and we're gonna put points on the board. We're gonna get off the bus throwing it. You know, my offensive coordinator, he's a go-getter. He wants to put points on the board. So for us coming here, it's a chance for us to showcase what our season's gonna be about. You know, I texted kids this morning, so around when you said 60 days, hey, 60 days until we play Howard. And so everybody's excited, we're working hard, and just a chance to have our fans to come and see what we're gonna be about in 2022.
Thank you, Coach. Next question. We have another question here. Okay, well, actually, let's come over here, and then we'll come back to you, sir.
Ernest Rex, MTMV Sports. This question is for both coaches. What are some of the strengths and weaknesses of your team, right? What are some areas of strengths, and then areas where your team can really improve that you can see or observe after spring workouts? Right? What are some of those things that you'll be working on going into the season?
Y'all go first. For me, I think our biggest weakness, we had 4 interceptions last year, so we didn't have enough turnovers. So we're stressing turnovers. It's football, so the idea is to get your hands on the ball every chance you get. So defensively, I think that's our biggest thing, is to try and create turnovers.
Thank you.
I would follow along what Coach just said. For us, it's we didn't turn the ball over enough and take the ball away and put our offense in better situations. And I think we got to really shore up and be better on our special teams. Special teams are the biggest differential, that play the biggest differential in the game. That's where all the hidden yardage lies sometimes, and people don't realize how important it is to always deserve the right to kick the ball, whether that's a field goal or whether that's punting the football. So we just have to shore up our special teams, which comes with young players becoming better football players, becoming more aware of how to play the game, tackling well, what it means to play great special teams, and understand the scheme and the philosophy behind it. So just more buy-in on the special teams wise, playing better, using our athletes in better position to do that, and taking the ball away.
Thank you.
Keisha J. Kelly, Black College Experience, as Tanitra said. This is for Coach Scott for Howard. My question is, as she stated, you signed the highest recruiting class. And of course, this is Howard's first appearance. Do you feel any pressure with signing that highest recruiting class to turn it up a notch?
No. Pressure is something that in football, if you can't deal with pressure, I don't think you'll find yourself in a position to be elite and successful at what you do. I think you have to find a way to bottle that up, and what that means is you reduce pressure by preparation. So what we do is we do a really good job of making sure our young men understand the daily process that it takes. So when you do arrive at that stage, you're well prepared. There's no jitters, there's no worry, there's no concern. So preparation removes pressure. And for us, it's just getting every one of those young men prepared on a daily basis. What does it take to win the day? And keep your focus right there. What does it take to win on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? When we get to the game, the byproduct of the result of that is the work that we put in the years and days before that. So preparation removes pressure. There's no pressure with that. We want to sign in the highest rated class every year, so bring the pressure.
Thank you, Coach.
I want to ask all coaches in terms of spring practice, and getting into the rhythm of the summer. Are your students back on campus in terms of first semester, or being more second semester? How does that affect your ability for preparation for this early game that starts on the board and everybody else starts?
Yeah, so I think he's referring to good talking to him, of course. Everybody knows Kabil. I think coming out of spring practice, and I kind of taking over as a new coach, I kind of put everything into four quarters. Football players, we like regiments, so it's something that we can relate to. So of course, that first quarter was that January, February, March, getting everything in shape, ready for spring, and of course then it was spring practice, and now this is the third quarter, which is the summertime. And of course, then you have the 4 quarters when the game starts. So the way I break it down to the kids, it's just like a football game. You don't play well the first 3 quarters. The 4th quarter, you're hoping for a miracle. You're hoping to get lucky. And that's what we can't plan. We can't plan on trying to get lucky or just going out there off enthusiasm because everybody else is working out. So we have quite a few kids on campus right now that are working out, most of them in summer school, and understanding the whole nature of playing in the week 0 game in South Georgia. It's gonna be a little bit hotter than DC. I was hoping it would have been like 3 o'clock, but you moved it to 7, so we'll have to work with that. So I think being down here in the South, we know how it can get hot. I mean, we know once we walk outside what it's gonna be like. So making sure that the kids are in shape, already acclimated. Of course, the strength and conditioning, and the biggest thing is, you know, everybody has so much enthusiasm, you don't want to have any of those phantom injuries during the summertime. So you want the guys to get better. They do a lot of one-on-one stuff, a lot of volunteer stuff, and the kids are committed to work out. But the biggest thing is just keeping everybody healthy and ready for week 0.
Yeah, for us it was different set of challenges. Taking the job February of 20. We had to spend a whole year doing everything virtual. So when you have a whole year of a football team that we haven't been around, I'd only been around them probably about 2 weeks before everything shut down for us in DC. And we had to find a way to build a virtual season. And for me, it was dipping into a virtual world a virtual space that we didn't have a whole lot of knowledge of, but it was a space that our young people were comfortable in. So you learned a lot about those young men and tried to instill the philosophy and build the foundation of a football program and do it virtually. So that was a challenge, one of the biggest challenges I've ever had as a coach. And to come back and try to play the spring season in the winter in DC wasn't a lot of fun either. All right, you go out and there's 2 inches of snow on the ground, and we're shoveling snow to find yard lines and do those things to try to get some work in to try to improve this football team and find out just what it is that we do have. Was a huge challenge. We played 2 basically what I would still consider inter-squad games against Delaware State, where we still did not know who we were, what we had, and where we played, more importantly, but where we needed to go. And then after that, we have to send them home. We're in a situation where we don't necessarily get the advantage of having our young men the entire summer to train them and do those type of things, but we do get the second summer session, which for us just started on Monday, yesterday. So we had a group of young men come in and kind of train on their own a little bit previous to that, but to have them come back yesterday and start our summer session 2, is huge for us. But this is the first year that we have a chance to brand our philosophy, brand how we play football, brand who and what we are, and that's because it's the first time we've had a full spring season.
Okay, back to the floor.
Okay, Jason McDonald, Core 360 Sports. This was for Coach Scott. You may not have known, I think you were still playing football, but the last time Howard was in Atlanta, they played Morris Brown, not too far from here. And they were it was like a 49-18, 15 game. What is your philosophy to restore that high-scoring ball type of offense that Howard was known for, and guys like Jay Walker flourished in?
That's a really good question. That starts with people, right? That starts with personnel. So doing a great job of evaluating and going and recruiting and bringing in the very best players that you can. For me, I've been in systems where we've been able to score a lot of points in the SEC and do those type of things. So scoring points in football is no stranger to our system and our philosophy of how we do things. So it's making sure that you got the right people in place, because in the end, you can have all the great schemes and plays you want to, but players make plays. So you have to go out and make sure you're bringing in the right young men that fit the system. We're not fit a square peg in a round hole type of deal. We're going to evaluate our personnel, put the right people in the right position to go do that, and hopefully that gives us the results that we want. But it starts with the personnel and people, and we'll be able to do that, I promise you. That's what we've done a good job of.
Thank you, Coach. Any other questions from the floor?
Okay, this is for Coach Robinson. I'm sorry, Keisha Kelly, Black College Experience. While you were playing, you did earn the nickname, I read, Steady Eddie. What are you doing with your players now to teach them the same things that you have learned as far as preparation and skill on the football, as far as being great players and great men?
Okay, good question. So, Steady Eddie, I was one of those guys. I played 11 years in the NFL, and I was one of those guys, the unsung hero. I was there on time, but not early like a coach. So I was that guy that was reliable and consistent. So that's what we're preaching to the guys. It's 3 things that I tell them is attitude, effort, intelligence. And the attitude is just coming to work every day, being positive. We're around these kids every day, so we're seeing more than their parents. We talk to them. My phone may call at any time of the day or night, and the kid has a question that's important to him, so I have to pick it up and answer it. Because it's important to me if it means something to him. So I think giving the kids the feedback to knowing that they can trust us and care about us. I think if you don't like kids and you don't generally want to be here, then it's not going to work. So I think once my coaches kind of get the kids to buy into that, we have a relationship with them, then it goes to the effort part. You know, we want kids who are gonna play hard, then intelligence, play smart, and the smart is on and off the field. The biggest thing is you can't start being a disciplined football team on Saturday night. The discipline starts going to academic practice, you know, going to study hall on time, you know, making sure that you're at the meetings on time, you know, you're at the mandatory lifts. So all of those things, that's when the discipline starts, then it shows up on Saturday. So that's what we're pushing with the kids. You know, be disciplined in everything you're doing, attending all classes, all meetings, those type of things. And then it goes over to football. We know you can play football, you wouldn't be on campus if you couldn't play football. So we're trying to see what type of character you have. And in the long run, that character development, that's gonna take them way further in the football world.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. And you speak of being a student athlete, so that's that piece when we talk about not just the athlete part, but the student part. Thank you so much for that. And we'll come back to our questions here on the floor, but let's go back to our virtual media team, and we have a question.
Good morning, everyone. Stephen J. Gaither from HBCU Game Day. Just wanted to ask both coaches, obviously your first time coaching in this game, and you're coaching your individual teams, but it is the MEAC SWAC Challenge. For both coaches, just talk about representing your conferences. Coach Scott, the MEAC has kind of dominated this thing. I'm sure you want to keep that going. And then for Coach Robinson, obviously, you know, stop that streak and start another one. But what does it mean to represent the conferences for you all as well as your programs?
I think for us, it means to keep the streak alive. You know, I think the last 2 games have been won by the MEAC. The record right now is 11-4, and we don't want to be the team that stops that positive momentum and keep that going. So just for our young men to have the sense of urgency of what that means, you're not only carrying the brand that is Howard and our philosophy and who we are as a football team, but we're representing our conference as a whole. And that has to mean something. And so just the education behind that, and to get them to play that way, you have to educate them. You have to take them through the history, take them through what it is and what this opportunity means as the first time for us. And then to have an opportunity to play in week 0 and be one of the first teams to play college football, it is important to, and it's a big deal. And what better brand and what better time and what better stage for Howard University to, you know, put that all out there for everybody to see. We've been working hard and it's that time.
Yeah, well, for me, I think it's, you know, we want our kids to take it personal. You know, having played in the SWAC and been around SWAC football, growing up in New Orleans, watching, yeah, you know, the legendary Eddie Robinson, which I'm no relation to, and actually, I took some summer classes at Xavier, so I know exactly where Xavier's at. And so to me, it's a personal experience because, you know, I kind of live and breathe the SWAC. And so it's always been, in my opinion, that the SWAC was the better football conference over the MEAC. However, if you look at the records the last couple of years, you are what the records say you are. So I can't say that today, but we want to definitely turn that around. And just from the SWAC MEAC Challenge and even more importantly, that Celebration Bowl at the end, you were telling our kids we want to start and end our season in Atlanta. And so, and that's our goal. And so, you know, as much as we want to fight Jackson State as Alabama State alumni and fans, you know, once it comes to we're playing outside of the conference, we're 100% rooting for every SWAC school. So I think it's one of those things where we're playing for Alabama State, but we're playing for the conference, and we have to kind of restore order because the SWAC is the preeminent HBCU conference in the nation. So I tell you a quick story. You know, back in '91 when we had our undefeated season, we played in the Heritage Bowl, which is the first Heritage Bowl down in Miami. We played North Carolina A&T, by the way. I'm sure you remember that game. So, so it was you know, battle of the SWAC versus the MEAC. First time they put a bowl game together, so everybody had the super excitement and everything. And so my head coach, Coach Markham, who's deceased, to show you the type of camaraderie the SWAC coaches had, he allowed W.C. Gordon to come speak to us before the game. And not only that, he allowed Marino Chasm to come speak to us before the game. And finally, he showed up with the legendary Eddie Robinson Jr. to speak to us before the game, in the locker room. And so if you talk about, you know, the SWAC coaches of old understanding that it's SWAC above everything, and A&T didn't have a chance after we heard those 3 guys speak. And so we went on to win that game, but I think that's what we have to get back to, that SWAC football, as much as we're gonna go at each other with the member institutions, when it comes to playing outside the conference, we're always rooting for those SWAC schools.
All right, we're gonna come back to the floor and go ahead with your question.
Christina, Christina Maxwell, MT Sports, and my question is for Coach Larry Scott. Again, with the Bisons playing in the Classic for the first time, what does this type of exposure mean for the players in the program?
Oh, it means a lot, and I think the whole idea of educating them again on what it means to do it carries some weight too. I mean, you just can't show up at football games of this magnitude on this stage and not understand the importance of it and what it means. Is that supposed to tense you up or give you any concern? No, because we're built for it. We're built for this stage. That's what we've been doing. That's our brand. That's our philosophy. We've recruited that way. We've instituted our philosophy and built our foundation of our program that way to have this stage, to have these opportunities, to make sure we're prepared for these opportunities inside and out. So I think just to educate them on the importance of the magnitude of it, because this will probably be the biggest stage that any of these young men have had a chance to step onto. And that's big, that's memorable. That's why you come to Howard, that's why you play in this conference, and that's why you want to be a part of this game. And kind of allude to a little bit of what Coach said. For us, our philosophy is, and our mindset this year is it starts here and it ends here. So Atlanta, this won't be hopefully the last time you see us.
Thank you, Coach. And we're actually gonna go back to virtual just for one more quick question from our virtual media.
Good morning. This is for both coaches, but Coach Robinson, you mentioned earlier that the SWAC is the preeminent conference that you believe it to be, but the record speaks for itself. My question is to each of you, even though you mentioned it earlier, how can Alabama State turn things around? And also, on the other side, for MEAC, since the record does speak for itself, can you say that the MEAC always comes out with a chip on their shoulder to say that, yes, the SWAC is supposed to be the preeminent conference, but yes, the record does speak for itself, and we are 11-4. So is it just that the MEAC just comes out with a chip on their shoulder, or what is it?
Well, for me, I think that's the best thing about football. Unlike if you had a job as academics, or say if you were the weatherman or sportscaster, basically you can give your opinion and you're always right. All right. Or you can basically try to talk your way through it and kind of BS your way to being right. The best thing about football is at the end of the day, the scoreboard is going to say who's right and who's wrong. And so I think that level of accountability for two former athletes, we want to be able to go out there and earn it. We don't want it to be subjective. We don't want to have a red paper or someone's opinion of it. We go out there and play the football game and see who's the best team in the best conference. And I think that's what's exciting about it. You put a lot of hard work into it, and I don't think the average fan realizes how much effort goes into preparing for one game. So for right now, we can't even look at anybody else past Howard. We have a great schedule that I won't talk about today because we have one game that we're looking forward to. That's Howard. So that's our singular goal, is to win the first game. And I know Coach has that same attitude. And that's what makes football so great, is that you gear everything up and you put all your energy into 1 week, and then regardless of how it ends up, you have to get back at it and go forward to the next week. And so, but right now, yeah, you just have to go out there and play the football game. If the SWAC feels like we're the conference that we say we are, we have to go out there and play, and we have to win football games. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think the question of it being a natural, a chip on your shoulder, I think absolutely there is. At the end of the day, whatever edge you have to find within yourself, within what you represent, to try to be your best on that particular day, you find it. You dig for it and you find it. That's our job as coaches. And each and every time you can get the swag is a little different, the bravado is a little different on the other side. We get it. But at the end of the day, the record speaks for itself. You're right, the numbers speak, and that's what it is. Like Coach said, at the end of the day, when two teams step on the football field, it's about when there's 4 zeros left on the clock and what both scores indicate. That's what it is. That's the bottom line. That's just how it works. So at the end of the day, I think the conference does carry a natural chip. And with Howard, we get a double whammy because we have a natural chip on our shoulder. So with that, comes, I can't wait till the day we get it on the grass, put the ball down and spot it, and let's go play football.
And we have time for a few more questions, so we'll start here.
Vicki Jones, VMH Magazine and Sports. My question is related to celebrities and their support, which has always been, but HBCUs and student athletes. P. Diddy, during BET Awards, he kind of alluded to two things. One, HBCU support and HBCU student athlete support by donating $1 million to Howard University, which he attended, and then he donated another $1 million to Deion Sanders, which speaks to HBCU student athletes and the conference. How do you both feel about celebrity and their support and on national stage when he's receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award and making sure the world sees, hey, this is what we're doing. We're supporting HBCUs and HBCU student athletes through those two donations that he gave.
All right, so I think for me, when you're talking about HBCUs, you're talking about all of the distinguished alumni, whether they're football players or, they're all acts of life, politics, arts, entertainment, everything. The HBCUs have produced some of the most, dynamic professionals in every theater that we can talk about. So I think it's just a natural fit that the entertainers would want to participate and believe in what we're doing at the HBCU level. And it's not just football players. I mean, we're turning out student athletes and professionals. I was a chemistry major. Most of my classmates are doctors now. So I feel like I was the underachiever who went into professional football, but academically they far surpassed where I was, and and they're still doing a great job at it. And so for me, I look at when I'm talking to kids and I'm trying to get them to attend Alabama State, if I see that the conversation's not going to where I want, and is obviously they want to go to a different university besides the one I'm trying to talk them into coming to, and that's if they're a student athlete or not. My biggest thing is stay SWAC and stay black. I'm always push them to go to a different SWAC school. I'll play against you, or go to another HBCU like Howard, and we'll play against you then. But I want all of the talent, the athletic talent and the intellectual talent, to go to the HBCUs, and I think that's where we started at. And I think we're moving back into that trajectory again, and I love it. I have nieces and nephews who went to Alabama State, a son that's at Alabama State, other nieces and nephews who went to Langston and other HBCUs, so I'm always going to push kids to attend the black colleges.
So I feel like whatever stage you have an opportunity to stand upon, you should represent what you feel like means something to you, that gives you a chance to make an impact. I think each of us are all challenged with the idea of finding what it is that we can leave a legacy of, or that we can make an impact to and through to, I think, and so whatever stage that is for you, whether you're P. Diddy on a earning a Lifetime Achievement Award as an entertainer, whether you're a physician, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a football coach, at the end of the day, you have a platform, and whatever that biggest platform is, please speak to your legacy. Please speak to the impact that you want to leave on the young people that you get a chance to touch on an everyday basis. And it just so happens that we're living in a time where HBCUs are at the focal point of that. And so why not, as a professional, take and being the elite of who you are in this country that makes an impact every day, why not take that stage right now at this critical time in our country's history to make that impact, to leave that legacy for yourself, and to stand forward to it and speak to it loudly and boldly every day. So I think it's awesome. I think it's about time, and I think we all need to continue to do that in our various lives and our various aspects that we have, that we get a chance to leave an impact and have create a legacy for ourselves.
Well said for you both. We have time for just two more questions.
Good morning, I'm Amber McBride with NTMB Sports, and my question is for Coach Scott. In what ways do you believe your coaching experiences are similar and different at Howard University opposed to PWI like Miami or Clemson?
Yep. You know what, that's a really good question, because when you get a chance to be a football coach and leave an impact on a young man's life, you don't care whether that's Jones Junior High, you don't care whether that's the Little League Saints in the Little League Park, or that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You really don't care. You're going to approach your job the same way you would approach it in any situation. So I'm very thankful and blessed that I've had the opportunities that I've had to coach in the SEC, to coach in the ACC, to coach in the Big East, the old Big East, to coach high school football, because that's where it all started for me. So for me, I'm blessed to have the opportunities I've had, and I don't approach it any different anywhere, nowhere, no matter where I'm at. So what our kids are getting and what we're implementing in our foundation, our philosophy is everything that I know. And I've been fortunate to be around some really good football coaches that have done it at an elite level of both recruiting, mentoring first, and coaching and development. So I've taken a little bit of all of that from every experience that I've had, and I'm pouring it all into our young people at Howard, and so is every coach on our staff. That's why it was important to me. Sure, I brought the right people in, because at the end of the day, buildings don't build football players. Buildings don't build great people. People build people. So at the end of the day, putting the right people in the right situations to impact our young people and pouring into them each and every day was important to me. It's critical to me, and I think that's what we're doing in our program, and that's why we're going to build it. So all of that doesn't make a difference, whether it's PWI, or Little League, or whatever. It's about making an impact and doing your job the same way every day and leaving an impact and a legacy for these young people.
Thank you.
Your older levels for HBCU. This is for both coaches. NIL, how do you plan to incorporate that in your program to recruit some of the higher ranking athletes? This one for Coach Scott. What would you tell alumni, those who are donors, who are planning visionaries for the program? And the last one for Coach Robinson. Your father is arguably the greatest HBCU coach of all time, top 10 ever. How do you navigate that pressure to be at the following footsteps?
So we got 3 questions in one. So we'll just ask in the interest of time, coaches, if you guys can just answer quickly one of those questions, and then we'll wrap. However you all want to answer it.
I think you asked what the plan was to unite the.
Well, basically, we have how you guys plan to incorporate NIL.
Okay.
Now you bring recruit some of the higher ranking athletes.
Okay, NIL starts with everybody. First of all, that's what we got to all start to realize is that one coach and one program can, institute that. We need our alumni, people to step forward with that are business owners, corporate America, and those type of things that are in that realm to want to take an active part in what that is and what that looks like for us as we shape it and build it and try to turn it into what it can be impactful for Howard for. I know our young men are very savvy financially when it comes to those type of things, and some of the conversations we've had with that have been still geared towards making sure we don't de-amateurize ourselves as we continue to build and make sure we understand the importance of still earning that degree and walking across the stage first. So we look at things from deferred compensation to being creative with building yourself through what your charity looks like, what you're building buildings for them and building corporations for yourself to become an entrepreneur and different things like that, and using the time at Howard to not only brand just yourself, but to use the Howard brand, which is a very powerful brand, to build the next 40 and 50 years of your life as you outline what that looks like. It's not about the just here and now and going buying Jordans and getting an apartment and driving cars. It's not about that. It's about the longevity that this brand and this opportunity for young people that you have now with name, image, and likeness to build the next layer, the next chapter, the next book of your life. So we're taking it a step further than just the now, and we're trying to make it something that's a holistic approach and mindset towards our young people.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm not related to Coach Eddie Robinson, the legend. Definitely a mentor of mine. I knew him personally. We played against him. He beat me, we beat him, so it was a lot of fun. But I guess to start off with the NIL, like Coach is saying, that's something we do have a Hornet Alliance that's set up, that alumni set up, and something that we're participating in, and also want our alumni to donate to. We have a fundraiser tonight. We have a coaches tour that's in Atlanta because we have an alumni base here. So look for me afterwards if you want to attend that, if you're not already RSVP. But I think the biggest thing is, like Coach is saying, you want to teach the young men that, whether it's NIL, whether it's cost of attendance, which this will be our first year of starting cost of attendance at the university for scholarship athletes. So we understand that, we do have a lot of kids who may come from Florida or come from other places, and just to have the basic aspect of, hey, you want to go out and have dinner with your friends, or you want to maybe travel home for Christmas and not have the financial strain. So, those are the purposes of trying to help kids out. We can't make the assumption that every kid that goes to college that's on athletic scholarship has 2 parents at home and they have the wherewithal and the financial ability to give the kids, financial resources and everything like that. So every kid is in a different and unique situation. And I'm sure Coach can explain that same thing too. So we're looking at each individual kid to try to figure out, how can alumni help those kids, and it's happening at the bigger school and at the HBCU level. It's a good chance for us to really say, hey, if you want to give back to the schools and give back to the individual student athletes, I think this is a great way to do it. And I think everybody has to realize that, we're putting the money into the programs, the schools are, but then as fans, we can't just be cheerleaders. We have to write checks also. And we have to donate back to our universities, and we have to do it. We are the graduates of the HBCU, so it's our turn to donate back and to give, not just to the schools, but also to the NILs and to the individual student athletes.
Thank you so much, coaches. So just like Coach Larry and Coach Eddie have spoken in different ways this morning about HBCU excellence, we want you guys to take a look at a video about just that. To 2021, that was quite an amazing MEAC SWAC challenge. That one came all the way down to the wire. So speaking of coming down to the wire, we have indeed in this press conference come down to the wire. We want to thank you all again for both the media who are in attendance as well as those who joined us virtually. And want to let you guys know that you do have an opportunity here in person to have one-on-one interviews with our coaches as well as our title sponsor, our executive director, and our band directors. So again, thank you all for attending our inaugural MEAC SWAC challenge. It has been my privilege and honor to moderate this afternoon, and now I just want to invite you guys to enjoy and partake in lunch. And for those of you who are traveling from beyond Atlanta, safe travels. And for those of you who are in the A, safe travels on the streets. Have a great afternoon, because we all know what it is out there. God bless.